Shalom, shalom. This is Mikhail Yakub checking in again. I just wanted to share something I thought was interesting. I kind of stumbled upon it, or it kind of popped in my mind, and yeah, once again thought I'd share it. I wrote on here just some notes. Adam versus Edom, and if you look here, you're looking at the pictograph writing of the two, which they might look a little bit different, but they're the same actually. The characters are exactly the same in the pictograph and the Paleo Hebrew form. The only difference would be in the Aramaic form, which would have your vowel points and stuff like that. But, thousands of years before that came about, Adam and Edom were actually spelled the exact same way, which is interesting to think about. So I gave that some thought. And I kind of pondered upon, would there be any similarities between the two? And turns out, despite popular opinion, there actually might be a few characteristics between the two. And we're going to kind of look at that with the few notes that I've taken here. One of the things I want to focus on is a Hebrew word known as Bekura or Bakura. And that's going to be H1062 in your concordances. And the definition that it gives for that is birthright. And the earliest usage of birthright we have is Genesis 4 verse 4. And what it's going to say in our English Bibles is Abel offered the firstlings of his flock, whatever that means. But because we know he was a shepherd, so to speak. But what it really says is Abel offered his bakura, and what bakura means, I won't go into it right now as far as a character definition. But essentially, what I got out of it is he allows himself to be used for the Creator's sake. That's kind of what the characters break it down to, and I mean you can look into that in your own time and conclude what you will from it, but. With that in mind, with birthright in mind, it's interesting enough because when we look at Esau, or who was then called Edom, once he gave up his birthright, it kind of makes you think about why. Why was he given the name Edom? I mean, Edom. We know Edom means red. That's why Scripture says he was called Edom, which the Hebrew words, the Hebrew characters for red are 122 and 119. Those definitions are red, but I wanted to go back and kind of look at a few things, and in Scripture we can kind of find. We'll see if we can get a reason as to why. But let's look at first possibly where Adam's birthright may have been, and we're gonna go to Bereshit 1, verse 29, and it's Elohim saying. See, I've given you every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every fruit that yields seed, or every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you for food, and every beast of the earth, and everything that crawls, everything that flies, and everything that crawls, etc., etc. You get it. So here we see that Adam is given. I mean, we all know he's given dominion over the earth, over the entire earth. And now we see that, and I'm sure, that's not clearly written that, hey, this is your birthright, but that's what's given to him. Yes, I'm sure we could all agree to that. And now let's go a little bit deeper into Bereshit and see if we can't identify what Esau was given. Even though Jacob took his birthright, we're still going to see what was given to him because it's very interesting. Give me 1 second. I think I might be at it, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It was in 27. I was looking in 29. But let's see, 29, Bereshit 29, verse 39. Let me zoom in here. And Jacob his father answered him. This is Yitzhak. His father answered him, Esau, said, see, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth and the dew of the heaven above. And by your sword you are to live and to serve your brother. And it shall be, or it shall come to pass, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated his brother because of the blessing, etc., etc. But from there we see that, looking at the Hebrew word, the word fatness is like mishman or something like that. And it basically means life, life pressing, life continues or something like that, which, I mean, you can kind of think about it. That in itself means, you're still getting the goodness of the earth or whatnot. But looking at it back from Genesis 1, technically speaking, Isaac is telling him, hey, your dwelling is the fatness of the earth. So he's still getting that dominion over the beast, the fruit of the field, and the, every creeping, crawling thing and all of that. He's still getting all that. But he's saying, by your sword, you're going to live. And it's kind of, to me, it kind of speaks of a symbolic, because because Yahuwah told Adam, like, you're going to till the ground. And now, instead of tilling the ground, it's by a sword you're going to live. So it's not going to be given to you, but you're going to have to take it, which is what he told him afterwards. And also, one thing I wanted to look at, which if we go to Genesis, I think 3, let me go to it real quick. Praise Yah for this understanding or enlightenment. This is going into right after the fall, and then when Yah confronts man. Give me 1 second. Minus sweat in your face, you are eating around me. I'm looking for it. I might not be able to find it, but I'm sure if I'm sure if I told y'all would know where it's at. Give me 1 second. There's a verse. I can't find it right offhand. I might put it in the comments. But here it is. Okay. Bereshit 3, verse 21. Let's see if it clears up. I guess it's not. Well, I'll just read it. And Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. Now, the question to ask is, we know a coat of skin is what Adam would have been made of. And technically speaking, that coat of skin, I mean, can we assume that the dirt of the ground, or the dust of the ground, or the soil was reddish or ruddy, which is 123 or 122 and 119. I mean, 120 is going to give you the man definition, but 122 and 119 is going to give you the red or the ruddy texture. And with that in mind, it makes you think, okay, wait a minute, there's a connection between the two here. And then when y'all threw them out, it wasn't until they transgressed and potentially gave up their Bakura that they were even given the skin to even be identified as Adam or as ruddy or Edom, quote unquote. Which makes me kind of suggest that, could it possibly be that Esau was called Adam, which that's technically what it is before the vowel points came about. Esau was called Adam. True, because it was a red porridge that he gave himself up for, but also because he gave his Bakura up. And if we look at the foreshadowing of it, I mean, it's all over the place. We can see where Abel was the second born and received the birthright blessing, etc., etc. But I mean, it's just something else to ponder on. It just kind of hit me, and then I thought about it, and the more I dwelled upon it, I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense, makes more sense. And if we look at what Jacob said, eventually the yoke was broken. Esau, who many identify as the Arabs today, and I believe that as well. It's completely reversed. I mean, Esau has made the servants of of what many believe to be the Hebrews. If you look at the Arab slave trade, I mean they've been selling slaves for 1,000+ years, and so on. And it's very interesting. Prophecy is interesting, and I mean, history is interesting as it relates to prophecy. But that's all. I just wanted to share that with you all. It was on my head. I thought I'd come out, write it down. This Day of Atonement's ending for me. So shalom to you all. Peace. Barakatah, blessings, and be well.